Hello and welcome to English Spark. I'm so excited to have you here with me as we talk about a topic that many English learners wonder about: how to learn English effortlessly. If you've ever felt like learning English is too hard or that it takes too much time, then this podcast is just for you. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Jason, and I've been helping people just like you learn English in a way that's easy, natural, and enjoyable. Over the years, I've seen how many students get frustrated with traditional methods, and they often feel like they're not improving as quickly as they'd like. But the truth is, learning English doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to feel like a big challenge every day. In fact, learning English can be simple, fun, and yes, effortless. Now, you might be asking, how can learning English be effortless? Well, let me tell you that it's all about changing the way you approach learning. You don't need to study for hours every day or memorize long lists of vocabulary. Instead, you can start making small changes to how you practice English that will help you improve naturally without feeling stressed or overwhelmed. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you some simple and practical tips that you can start using right away. Whether you're just starting to learn English or you've been practicing for a while, these tips will help you practice speaking and listening in a way that fits into your everyday life. You'll learn how to immerse yourself in English, make listening and speaking a daily habit, and, most importantly, keep your learning fun and motivating. I want you to remember one thing. You are already capable of learning English, and you don't have to do it the hard way. The key is to approach it with patience, consistency, and a positive mindset. In today's episode, we'll explore how to make English learning a part of your life in a way that feels easy and enjoyable. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of effortless English learning together. Understanding the concept of effortless learning. Before we dive into the methods that make learning English easier, let's first talk about what we really mean by effortless learning. You might be thinking, is it really possible to learn something as complex as English without feeling like it's hard work? The answer is yes, and here's why. When we think of learning, we often imagine sitting at a desk, memorizing vocabulary, and going through endless grammar rules. We may picture ourselves studying for hours, feeling stressed, and constantly worrying if we're making progress. But this traditional way of learning isn't always the most effective, especially when it comes to learning a language like English. Instead of thinking of learning as something that requires intense effort and frustration, think of it as something natural and fun. This is what we mean by effortless learning. Effortless learning is about removing the pressure and stress that often come with learning a language. It's about using methods that feel easy, enjoyable, and even relaxing. Imagine that instead of forcing yourself to study for hours or feeling anxious about making mistakes, you are learning English by simply living in it. This might sound too good to be true, but it's not. In fact, it's something that many successful language learners do. Here's how you can start to think about learning English as something that feels effortless. The first step to effortless learning is changing the way you think about learning itself. Many learners have the belief that they need to work extremely hard, or that they have to memorize everything to succeed. But learning doesn't have to be a struggle. If you approach English with a positive mindset, focusing on progress rather than perfection, you'll start to enjoy the process. The less pressure you put on yourself, the more natural your learning will feel. One of the biggest mistakes people make when learning English is focusing too much on memorizing words and grammar rules. Yes, vocabulary and grammar are important, but they shouldn't be the only focus. Instead, try learning English through real experiences. This means listening to podcasts, watching TV shows, reading books, and having conversations in English. When you're exposed to English in real situations, you start to understand it naturally without having to memorize everything. For example, think about how you learned your first language as a child. You didn't sit down and study grammar rules or memorize vocabulary lists. You learned by listening to your family, watching TV, and playing with friends. The more you were exposed to the language, the better you got at speaking and understanding it. This is the same idea for learning English. The more you surround yourself with English, the easier it will be to pick it up. Effortless learning happens when you make English a part of your everyday routine. Instead of setting aside hours for study time, you can incorporate English into the activities you already do. This might mean listening to an English podcast while commuting, watching your favorite movies with English subtitles, or even changing the language settings on your phone or social media accounts to English. These small changes add up over time and help you get more comfortable with the language. A common challenge for many learners is speaking English fluently. We often feel nervous about making mistakes, so we avoid speaking. However, one of the easiest ways to learn English effortlessly is by focusing on listening and speaking. Why? Because these are the most natural ways we learn languages in the first place. When you listen to English regularly, you start to pick up on new words, phrases, and sentence structures. Similarly, when you practice speaking, you start using the words you've heard in real conversations. Don't worry about being perfect. The goal is to get comfortable with the language. As you listen more and speak more, you'll notice that it starts to feel easier and more natural. Learning English effortlessly is not about achieving perfection right away. It's about making small, steady progress over time. Celebrate every little victory, whether it's understanding a new word, completing a simple conversation, or watching a movie without needing subtitles. When you focus on these small wins, you'll stay motivated and continue to improve without feeling overwhelmed. One key to effortless learning is consistency, not intensity. Many learners believe that they need to study for hours to make progress, but in reality, it's much better to practice for shorter periods every day. Even if you only have 15 minutes a day to practice, you will improve over time if you stay consistent. It's the regular, small amounts of practice that add up to big results. Finally, effortless learning is all about having fun. If you enjoy the process, you'll naturally want to keep learning. Find ways to make English interesting for you, whether it's through music, TV shows, games, or talking to friends. The more you enjoy learning, the less it will feel like work, and the faster you'll improve. In conclusion, effortless learning is about making English learning a part of your everyday life in a natural and enjoyable way. It's about shifting your mindset, listening and speaking regularly, focusing on real experiences, and not stressing about perfection. By following these tips, you'll be able to learn English with ease, without the pressure or frustration that often comes with traditional methods. One of the most powerful ways to learn English effortlessly is by immersing yourself in the language. But what does immersion really mean? And how can you do it effectively? Let's dive into this concept and explore why it's such a crucial part of your English learning journey. Immersion is the process of surrounding yourself with a language as much as possible. When you immerse yourself in English, you're constantly exposed to it, whether through listening, reading, or speaking, until it becomes a natural part of your daily life. It's like when you were a child learning your first language. You didn't sit in a classroom memorizing grammar rules. You learned by being surrounded by people who spoke the language all around you. In language learning, immersion works the same way. The more you are exposed to English in everyday situations, the more easily you'll start to understand it, speak it, and think in it. But the key is consistency. The more often you practice and expose yourself to English, the easier it will become. How can you immerse yourself in English? One of the best ways to immerse yourself in English is through listening. The more you listen to the language, the more you will begin to recognize words, understand sentence structures, and develop a natural feel for how the language flows. You can listen to English content while doing other activities, which makes it easy to incorporate into your daily life. Some great options for listening include podcasts. Choose podcasts that match your level and interests. There are podcasts available for beginners, intermediate learners, and advanced learners. You can listen to stories, interviews, and discussions about various topics. Try listening to English Amazing Podcast or other similar podcasts to practice speaking and listening. Music. Listening to English music is a fun way to practice. Pay attention to the lyrics and try to understand the meaning of the words. You can even sing along to improve your pronunciation and fluency. Audiobooks. If you enjoy reading, audiobooks are a great way to combine listening and reading. Find books you're interested in and listen while following along with the text. This helps you learn new vocabulary and context and improves your comprehension. Movies and TV shows. Watching movies or TV shows in English is another excellent way to immerse yourself. You can start with subtitles in your own language, and then switch to English subtitles as you improve. This helps you learn everyday vocabulary, slang, and expressions that native speakers use. To fully immerse yourself, you should make changes in your environment so that English is everywhere you look. Here are some simple ways to surround yourself with English. Change your phone settings to English. The more often you see English, the better. Change the language on your phone, social media, and computer to English. This will help you pick up new vocabulary and get used to seeing words in English daily. Label objects around your home. Another great way to learn vocabulary is by labeling things in your house. Stick small notes or labels on objects like the refrigerator, door, or desk, and write the names of these items in English. Every time you use these items, you'll be reminded of the words. Follow English accounts on social media. Follow accounts, pages, or groups in English. Whether it's an Instagram page, YouTube channel, or Twitter account. Consuming content in English is a great way to stay connected to the language. One of the best ways to immerse yourself in English is by speaking with others who speak it fluently. Engaging in conversations helps you practice in real-life situations and builds your confidence. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Speaking is one of the quickest ways to learn. Here are some ways to practice speaking. Language exchange partners. Find someone who is learning your native language and arrange a language exchange. You can spend half the time speaking in English and the other half in your native language. There are many apps and websites where you can find language partners, like Tandem, HelloTalk, or Speak. Speak with friends. If you have friends who are fluent in English, try speaking with them in English during your conversations. Even if it's just a few minutes a day, it's great practice. Online English classes or speaking clubs. Many online platforms offer one-on-one lessons with native speakers, like italki or Camp. You can also join speaking clubs where you can talk with other learners and native speakers. Reading is another excellent way to immerse yourself in English. It helps you improve your vocabulary, learn how sentences are constructed, and expose yourself to different writing styles. Here are some easy ways to start reading in English. Books. Pick books that match your level. Start with simple books for beginners and work your way up to more challenging texts. If you're not sure where to start, try reading children's books, as they often use simpler vocabulary and sentence structures. Articles and blogs. If you're interested in a specific topic, search for blogs, articles, or websites in English that cover it. This will help you learn new vocabulary related to your interests. News in English. Reading the news in English can help you learn how to discuss current events and improve your formal vocabulary. There are websites like BBC Learning English or News in Levels that offer news in simple English, which can be especially helpful for beginners. Even though writing isn't always part of the immersion process, it's a great way to practice your English. Writing regularly helps you solidify new vocabulary, improve your grammar, and get more comfortable with sentence structures. You can start by keeping a journal. Write about your day, your thoughts, or what you've learned. This practice will help you become more confident in using English to express yourself. Join forums, comment sections, or social media groups where people discuss topics in English. The more you write in English, the better your skills will become. The key to immersion is consistency. The more time you spend with English, the more naturally you will learn it. Just like learning your first language, you won't notice the changes immediately, but over time, you'll see improvement in your ability to understand, speak, and think in English. When it comes to learning English effortlessly, focusing on listening and speaking is one of the most effective strategies. These two skills are the foundation of language learning and are often the hardest to practice in a traditional classroom setting. However, when you prioritize listening and speaking in your daily life, you'll find that learning English becomes much easier and more enjoyable. Let's dive into why these skills are so important and how you can improve them in a natural, stress-free way. Before we get into the methods of improving your listening and speaking skills, it's important to understand why these two areas are crucial in language learning. Listening develops your understanding of English. Listening helps you develop a better understanding of how English works in real-life situations. By listening to native speakers, you get to hear how words are pronounced, how sentences flow, and how language is used in different contexts. This exposure helps you improve your vocabulary, comprehension, and pronunciation without even realizing it. Speaking builds confidence. Speaking is essential because it allows you to practice using English actively. Many learners focus too much on reading and writing and forget about speaking, but the more you speak, the more confident you become. Speaking also helps solidify your language skills because it forces you to recall vocabulary and grammar in real time. The more you practice speaking, the more fluent you'll become. Listening and speaking are connected. Listening and speaking go hand in hand. When you listen to English, you hear new words and phrases, which you can then use when speaking. By focusing on listening first, you prepare your brain to understand and produce the language when it's time to speak. Improving your listening skills doesn't mean spending hours in front of a textbook or memorizing difficult listening exercises. Instead, it means finding enjoyable ways to listen to English that fit into your daily routine. Here are some practical tips to help you improve your listening skills without stress. When you're learning English, it's important to listen to content that's at your level or just slightly above it. This is called comprehensible input. If you listen to material that's too difficult, you might get frustrated and give up. But if you listen to content that's too easy, you won't learn anything new. Look for podcasts, shows, or videos that are designed for English learners at your level. As you improve, you can gradually move on to more challenging content. There are two ways to listen to English: active listening and passive listening. Both are valuable, but in different ways. Active listening means paying full attention to what you're hearing, trying to understand every word, and focusing on the content. This type of listening helps you improve your comprehension, and it's great for short, focused practice sessions. Passive listening, on the other hand, means having English playing in the background while you do other activities, like cooking, cleaning, or commuting. You might not understand everything, but your brain is still processing the language. This type of listening helps you get used to the sounds and rhythms of English, and it's perfect for busy people who don't have much time for dedicated study. English is spoken in many countries around the world, and each has its own accent. By listening to different accents, you'll train your ear to understand English in all its forms. Try listening to American, British, Australian, Canadian, and other accents to improve your overall comprehension. This will help you in real-life situations where you might meet people from different English-speaking countries. When you're starting out, it can be helpful to use transcripts or subtitles while listening. This helps you connect the sounds you hear with the written words. Many podcasts provide transcripts, and most streaming platforms offer subtitles for their shows. Start by listening with subtitles in your native language, then move to English subtitles, and finally try listening without any subtitles at all as your skills improve. One effective technique for improving your listening and pronunciation is repeating what you hear. This is called shadowing. Listen to a short segment of English, pause it, and then repeat it out loud. Try to match the pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm of the speaker. This helps you connect listening with speaking and improves your pronunciation at the same time. Sometimes it's helpful to listen with a specific purpose in mind. For example, you might focus on catching certain words, understanding the main idea, or identifying the speaker's emotions. This targeted listening helps you develop different aspects of your comprehension skills and makes the practice more engaging. Now let's talk about how to improve your speaking skills. Speaking is often the most challenging part of learning English, but with the right approach, it can become easier and more enjoyable. Here are some practical tips to help you start speaking English effortlessly. One of the easiest ways to practice speaking is by talking to yourself in English. This might sound strange, but it's an effective technique that you can do anywhere, anytime. Narrate your day as you go about your routine. Describe what you're doing, what you see, or what you're planning to do. For example, while cooking, you might say, "I'm chopping onions now. I'll add them to the pot with some oil." This helps you think in English and practice vocabulary that's relevant to your daily life. Another great way to practice speaking is by recording yourself. Using your phone or computer, record yourself speaking in English, then listen to the recording to see how you sound. This helps you identify areas where you need to improve and track your progress over time. You can record yourself reading a text, answering questions, or just talking about your day. Finding a language exchange partner is one of the best ways to improve your speaking skills. Look for someone who speaks English fluently and wants to learn your native language. You can meet in person or connect online through apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, or Conversation Exchange. During your sessions, spend half the time speaking English and half the time speaking your partner's target language. This creates a supportive environment where both of you are learning and helping each other. Many cities have English conversation groups where learners can practice speaking together. These groups often meet in cafes, libraries, or community centers and are usually free to join. If there are no groups in your area, consider joining an online speaking club. Many websites offer virtual conversation groups where you can practice speaking with other learners and native speakers. The advantage of these groups is that you get to practice with different people, which helps you get used to various accents and speaking styles. When you're reading or watching something in English, try thinking aloud. Express your thoughts, reactions, and questions in English. This helps you practice spontaneous speaking and gets you used to expressing your ideas in real time. For example, while watching a movie, you might say, "I wonder what's going to happen next," or "I don't understand why the character did that." This technique helps you develop fluency and think in English. One of the biggest barriers to speaking English is the fear of making mistakes. But remember that mistakes are a natural part of learning. Native speakers won't judge you for making errors. In fact, they'll appreciate your effort to communicate in their language. Focus on getting your message across rather than speaking perfectly. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make over time. When learning to speak English, it's more effective to learn phrases and expressions rather than isolated words. This helps you speak more naturally and fluently. For example, instead of learning the word tired, learn phrases like, "I'm feeling tired today," or "I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm tired." These phrases are easier to remember and use in conversations. If you enjoy cooking, talk about recipes and cooking techniques. If you're interested in sports, discuss games and athletes. By connecting your English speaking practice to topics you're passionate about, you'll be more motivated to speak and find it easier to express yourself. Now that we've covered the importance of listening and speaking, let's talk about how to create a daily English routine that feels effortless and fits into your busy life. Creating a routine is crucial because consistency is the key to language learning. But it doesn't have to take hours of your time. Here's how to develop a simple, effective English routine. Don't try to study English for hours every day. Instead, set small, achievable goals, like listening to a 10-minute podcast during your morning commute, reading one article in English during lunch, or speaking English for 5 minutes before bed. These small habits are easy to maintain, and they add up over time. One of the best ways to make English learning effortless is by attaching it to habits you already have. This is called habit stacking. For example, if you already have a morning coffee routine, try listening to an English podcast while you drink your coffee. If you exercise regularly, listen to English music or an audiobook while working out. If you scroll through social media before bed, try following English accounts so you're exposed to English during that time. Make your home a place where English is naturally present. This could mean leaving English books or magazines on your coffee table, setting your TV to show English subtitles by default, or putting sticky notes with English words around your house. The more you see and hear English in your daily environment, the more naturally you'll learn. Use dead time effectively. We all have moments of dead time throughout the day, waiting for a bus, standing in line at the store, or waiting for a meeting to start. Use these small pockets of time for quick English practice. You might listen to a short podcast, review flashcards on your phone, or practice speaking with a language learning app. These moments might seem insignificant, but they add up to substantial practice time over weeks and months. The most important aspect of your English routine is that it should be enjoyable. If you dread your English practice time, you won't stick with it. Find resources that match your interests, whether it's cooking videos, funny TV shows, or podcasts about topics you love. Learning English through content you enjoy feels less like study and more like entertainment. Keeping track of your progress helps you stay motivated and see how far you've come. Consider keeping a language learning journal where you note down new words you've learned, conversations you've had in English, or shows you've watched without subtitles. Celebrating these small victories will keep you motivated to continue your learning journey. Remember that some days will be better than others. There will be times when you're too busy, tired, or just not in the mood to practice English. That's perfectly normal. Be flexible with your routine and forgiving of yourself on days when you don't meet your goals. What matters is that you get back to your routine the next day. Consistency over the long term is what leads to progress. Technology has made learning English easier than ever before. There are countless apps, websites, and tools designed to help you learn English effortlessly. Let's explore how you can use technology to enhance your English learning journey. There are many apps that make learning English fun and convenient. Some popular options include Duolingo, which turns language learning into a game; Memrise, which uses spaced repetition to help you remember vocabulary; and Tandem, which connects you with native speakers. These apps can be used during short breaks throughout the day, making it easy to practice English consistently. Podcasts are perfect for busy learners because you can listen to them while doing other activities, like commuting, cooking, or exercising. There are podcasts specifically designed for English learners at different levels. Some popular options include English Amazing Pod, All Ears English, and the Sponge Podcast. These podcasts often come with transcripts, which help you follow along and understand the content better. YouTube is a treasure trove of free English learning content. There are channels that focus on pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and conversation skills. Some channels use entertaining videos to teach English, making the learning process more enjoyable. Subscribe to channels that match your interests and learning style so you'll look forward to watching their videos. There are many websites that offer free resources for English learners. Sites like BBC Learning English, British Council Learn English, and English Club provide lessons, exercises, and activities for all levels. These websites often organize content by level, topic, or skill area, making it easy to find material that suits your needs. Learning vocabulary is an important part of mastering English, and there are apps that make this process easier and more efficient. Apps like Anki, Quizlet, and Vocabulary.com use spaced repetition techniques to help you remember new words. They show you words more frequently when you're still learning them, and less frequently when you've mastered them. This approach is more effective than traditional memorization methods. If you're working on your writing skills, tools like Grammarly, Hemingway Editor, and Pro Writing Aid can help. They check your grammar, punctuation, and style, and offer suggestions for improvement. Using these tools helps you learn from your mistakes and develop stronger writing skills over time. Finding people to practice English with is easier than ever, thanks to language exchange platforms. Websites and apps like italki, HelloTalk, Tandem, and Conversation Exchange connect you with native English speakers who want to learn your language. These platforms facilitate language exchange through text chat, voice calls, or video calls, giving you plenty of opportunities to practice speaking and listening. Learning any language requires time and dedication. There will be moments when you feel stuck or unmotivated. Here are some strategies to help you stay motivated and overcome common challenges. Having clear, specific goals helps you stay focused and motivated. Instead of setting a vague goal like, "I want to improve my English," set specific, measurable goals, such as, "I want to have a 10-minute conversation in English without pausing to translate," or "I want to watch an English movie without subtitles." These concrete goals give you something specific to work toward and make it easier to track your progress. Connecting with other English learners can provide support, motivation, and accountability. Join online forums like Reddit's language learning community, or find local meetup groups where you can practice English together. Sharing your struggles and successes with others who understand the language learning journey can be incredibly motivating. Imagine yourself speaking English fluently. Visualize yourself having smooth conversations with native speakers, ordering food in a restaurant, or giving a presentation in English. This positive visualization helps build confidence and keeps you motivated during challenging times. Many learners reach a point where they feel stuck. This is often called the intermediate plateau. You can understand and communicate in English, but you don't feel like you're making progress anymore. To overcome this plateau, vary your learning materials, challenge yourself with more advanced content, and focus on areas where you still struggle, whether it's pronunciation, vocabulary, or grammar. If you feel nervous about speaking English, remember that it's normal to feel this way. Start by speaking in low-pressure situations, like language exchange apps or with supportive friends. Gradually build up to more challenging conversations as your confidence grows. Remember that native speakers appreciate your effort to learn their language and are usually patient and supportive. Take time to recognize and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Did you understand a joke in English? Did you have a conversation with a native speaker without resorting to your native language? These victories deserve to be celebrated. Celebrating your progress reinforces the positive aspects of learning and keeps you motivated to continue. When motivation wanes, remind yourself why you're learning English, whether it's for career advancement, travel, personal growth, or connecting with new people. Keeping your reasons in mind helps you stay motivated during difficult times. Your why is your most powerful motivator. The journey to English fluency is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs, progress and setbacks, but with consistent effort and the right approach, you will continue to improve your English skills. Here are some final thoughts to help you on your journey. Learning English is a process that takes time, but it can be an enjoyable one when you focus on small daily improvements rather than expecting overnight success. Embrace the journey and find joy in the small victories along the way. Progress isn't always linear. Sometimes you'll make rapid improvements, and other times you'll feel stuck. That's normal. Measure your progress in different ways, not just by your grammar or vocabulary, but by your confidence, your ability to express yourself, and your comfort with the language. Ultimately, the most effortless way to learn English is to live it. Make it a part of your daily life, something you use and enjoy, rather than something you study and stress over. Find ways to make English meaningful to you, whether through music, movies, books, or connections with others. Learning any language requires patience and persistence. There will be challenges along the way, but with each challenge you overcome, your English skills will grow stronger. Remember that every successful English speaker was once a beginner and faced the same challenges you're facing now. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of effortless English learning. I hope these tips and strategies help you make English learning a natural, enjoyable part of your daily life. Remember that learning English doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be a fun, rewarding journey if you approach it with the right mindset. Focus on immersion, listening and speaking, and make it a consistent part of your routine. I'd love to hear about your experiences with these techniques. Share your thoughts, questions, and success stories in the comments below, or reach out to me through social media. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe for more episodes on language learning. And don't forget to visit our website for additional resources, transcripts, and learning materials. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and, most importantly, keep enjoying your English journey. See you next time.